Too long, don't have time to watch? Basically, these Korean BoardM gaming accessories are pretty much perfect in every way. If you pay 80 bucks, you get all of this plastic. If you pay 45, you get half of this plastic. With either package, you're probably going to be set with accessories for a very long time. I'm not even kidding. I've stress tested these for about a week and a half, using them across tons of different games with different scopes, themes, styles, you name it. So even with our shelf side level investigation, I don't really have any complaints about how these are made. I just have some personal minor complaints that we'll talk about later in the video. We'll also be comparing these to these other board game accessories. Oh yeah, how do these things actually work? Well, oh yeah, they're like this, and you can actually stack them too. That is some vertical storage going on. Okay, so we have a component holder, then a small card holder, then a normal size card holder, and then these can all slot into each other, and yes, vertically too. Then there's a separate card holder for your hand of cards. Still want to hear the actual analysis? Okay, let's start with this actual plastic. This plastic construction is really well made. It's really shiny with some sort of an acrylic feeling blend, and it being see-through is very useful. Something dropped behind the tray, you can see it. Under the tray for some reason, you can see it. Need to see what deck you actually put into the card holders? The top of the deck holders are clear with some skinny lines. The component trays are actually exceptionally comfortable to use too, with the size being really nice for pretty much any sort of chit or cube. For reference, 65 cubes looks like this. All of the TI Force Faction cardboard chits are like this. The deep angle of these really help our friend group's hands grab pieces. The verticality of everything is also a really neat option. Being able to stack a deck right on top of their discard piles is really nice to not only keep things clean, but to also save space if you have a smaller gaming surface. In fact, you can save so much space by putting decks on top of their discards, then putting the component tray on top of it. The connections are also super secure, and since things are angled, as long as you face the tower towards you, it's not really going to topple over when you grab stuff. I mean, there's probably some limitations on height and weight and how secure it is, but this is pretty tall and it seems fine. And let's be realistic, you probably don't want to stack this high anyways. What actually surprised me is how well the accessories link together side to side, which can also save you space. They're using a very discreet connection that doesn't draw any attention to it because it's clear. Like, check out this earthquake test. Oh, yeah, that's not coming apart. Also, shout out to the shape of this small deck holder, which is a deck and a discard all in the same piece. But I also found this shape to be a good backup component holder, and can even be good to store bigger cardboard pieces, like money for this prototype game here. Oh, and then this Magic the Gathering sized deck holder also fits sleeved cards, so that's very, very relieving. The trays for your hand of cards are also very solidly built, favoring durability and strength compared to the other pieces which had to connect to each other. These comfortably hold a hand of about 5 to 7 cards, but depending on the game, you can certainly put up to 10 or maybe even more and still be okay with it. That's kind of up to you and the game. These holders also stack on top of each other for easy storage. The final pro is that since these are all plastic with solid construction, they're durable. I'm not going to throw them on the ground accidentally, it's still here, but I'd be very comfortable with a bunch of them just being tossed on the floor. I found that for these component holders, since they're plastic, I'm way more okay putting metal in them compared to wooden trays. Since the threat of scratching, well, plastic isn't as obvious or as expensive if it does happen. Actually, speaking of wooden trays, these are from Wyrmwood, so it's comparisons time. These are the Wyrmwood tabletop tiles, which are really expensive because they're made out of wood. And over here, we have the Uberstax accessories, which are plastic and way more comparable to the BoardM ones in terms of price. First category, connections. Wyrmwood is all about metal magnets, which have a bit of a downside of having some strange polarity when you stack them in the wrong direction, but are pretty much mostly awesome. Uberstax has peg slots to connect everything, which is the most secure out of the bunch, and really touts the easily adjustable length of the card holders because of this, but this does have the drawback of the peg sticking out on sides that you don't use them on. The Wyrmwood and Uberstax do let you connect your card holders to your component trays through their systems though, which I don't really think is in high demand of a thing to do, but let me know if I'm wrong on this. The BoardM connections are pretty much invisible side to side, but for the verticality, which the others don't have, there's addition of the angle, which generally won't matter to most people, but could be ever so slightly jarring if you put them in the middle of everyone sitting at the table. BoardM also gives you something specifically for decks and smaller cards, which the others don't have, although the other accessories still can store individual small cards through their card holders. The component holding. Wyrmwood has the most dividers, although most would argue that this discontinued 3-section one creates too small of sections, and even the dual section one can be too limiting for many games. Still, it holds things really nicely and you are touching wood. Uberstax has one divider in its boxy tray, but that has a weird thing of not completely dividing things, so then if you're not careful, components can kind of creep into one another. We often found ourselves just using it for one component, but then why even have a divider at that point? The BoardM has no dividers, but again, it feels especially balanced to fit the load of any one specific component fully. Look good? I personally prefer the BoardM one way over the Uberstax, where black plastic isn't really to my liking, especially when you start playing in your friends' basements, living rooms. Plus the peg sticking out and the sharp edges with holes everywhere isn't really to my liking. I like clean looking things. And Wyrmwood is, well, that good wood with some metal accents and cork on the bottom. So it's pretty much as awesome as the wood you pay for, but you know, that good wood isn't cheap. It's a minimum of 30 bucks for a single tile. This one right here, this purple heart, is worth 75 bucks. For a comparison, 80 bucks will get you all of these BoardM accessories. It really helps the price that these aren't made out of wood, right? As for me, the critical board game reviewer who is almost religious about using Wyrmwood tiles, I think these accessories are actually pretty darn good. I just have 4 reservations, 4 very minor reservations, so let's go. 1, I noticed that stacking things vertically isn't really top priority for me, so I generally keep each tray on the table. But then if I'm not actually using this verticality feature, I'd prefer the actual bowl for the components to be bigger, then have the entire piece sit flat on the table. Changing the tray design would help with 2, which is actually the hassle of bringing these outside the house, because they take up a lot more space in my bag than I would like. See, again, since they have to be vertical, stacking to put them away means they're taking up a lot of space. They don't really fold in or anything. I'm comparing it to the Wyrmwood tiles, which were my previous go-to, which fit exactly inside my camera bag. Again, a super specific thing for me. Then number 3. While I really like the amount of cards the card holders hold, I found the angle of them to be a little too steep, and it's likely because I'm a little bit on the taller side. Something like the Uberstax card holders are a better angle for me, though I can see why the BoardM holders are so vertical because they wanted them to be easily stackable for storage. Then 4, it's again with the card holders, it's their hidden feature. They actually link together on the edges to form a dice tray, especially better if you play on a board game table to have a nice cushioned surface already for the dice. But I found the appeal of dice trays to be something you can easily pass around. Plus my existing go-to dice tray is way more packable, and I'm gonna be using these card holders for cards as much as I can anyways. So yeah, these 4 tiny nitpick aspects are not even close to deal breakers for me, especially if I'm playing at home when I don't have to lug them around in a duffel bag. The Wyrmwood wood and BoardM plastics are gonna be my future supplements for a lot of further fun. But yeah, for most people, just get the BoardM accessories unless you have a ton of money to throw on custom wood. Like seriously, I know this is a sponsored video and all, but I highly recommend these accessories again. To prove it to you guys, I'm gonna... Okay, actually, I'm not gonna give a recommender score because this is not a board game review, but I can give a personal score, right? So, these BoardM accessories are gonna get a 8 out of 10 for me. I have a great time using these. Look out for these in the background of my future videos. Like, these are gonna make an appearance in my Ashes Red Rains expansion review coming up soon. Yeah, check out the link for these down below. It's a Kickstarter campaign. These being sent to us did not affect our scoring and thoughts. And again, thank you so much to our patrons for making videos like this possible. Thank you guys so much. We have so many cool reviews coming. Raw Savin's also almost done filming. We also got our Bad Lads of Cardboard right here. Let me know what other accessories you want me to take a look at or which ones you actually use and you think are maybe better than these. I've only tried mostly these 3 accessories and a couple of my friends, so open to hear more. See you guys in the comments. Yeah, like, comment, subscribe. Yeah, see you guys later. Bye-bye.